Alright, I have got a bitch of a problem with my rear airbags in my SUV. Not just twisting out as they should. They should just kerchunk and twist the fuck out, but they are not. I managed to get one side out. First I had to cut the bottom of the airbag off so that I could get some access to seeing what was up there. And then my only fucking option was sticking a crowbar up in there and reefing on this fucking plastic ring. This sits up against the chassis, and my crowbar just happened to hook right along the edge. I just fucking ripped her the hell out of there. So, got one airbag out, thankfully. But this one, I imagine, is going to be a bit tougher since I've got the exhaust right next to it. So, don't know if I'll have much clearance to get the crowbar up there. So might have to use a long flathead and a hammer possibly to shatter it. But as you can see, let me just double check the other side, make sure I'm twisting it the right way. Yes, it twists that way. So I grab my thing here, twist, and both ends are just squealing and twisting and nothing is releasing. So unfortunately I need to fucking break them out. So I guess I'll start with what I did the first time and cut the airbag off, or do I even need to? Let's see. By crowbar, that's what I mean by crowbar, full-size crowbar, because that's all I fucking got at the moment. And as I suspect, fuck, let me grab my safety glasses, because I haven't getting rained on the fucking rust in my eyes. Ugh, fuck. 1 second. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, I think I got that out of my eye. Hopefully. Let's try this again. Can't see with my fucking goggles on. Don't got the anti-fog. Now I'm gonna start with cutting it again. Cutting it probably won't do a whole lot for me, but possibly. And it's a fucking bitch to get the cut started on these, because they are lined with metal like how your tire would be. Once you get it started, it kind of cuts all right. And I do not have my SUV very high off the ground. Should have made it a bit higher, but I don't have the greatest jack stands in the world. So if you watch me get crushed, I guess that'll get some views. Alright, I think I can take my goggles off for this because they are fogged the fuck up. I'm a sweaty boy. The exhaust being in the way definitely makes it harder to fucking cut. Oh, fuck me. bottom of that cut off. Now I'm going to try the crowbar again. If that doesn't work, I guess I'm trying to chisel out the center of it, because now you can see the center of it, which is just plastic. So yeah, I guess watch me struggle with that next. Watched a bunch of YouTube videos on this, and everyone just fucking twists them out like it's no big fucking deal. But mine don't want to do that. Let's just try again for shits and giggles. So it needs to be twisted this way. Nope. Yeah, that bitch doesn't want to twist out. And I already felt for the locking tabs, and they are gonzo. They're not non-existent. Well, they're already like smashed down or whatever, so I don't think that's what's causing this. Alright, let's try the crowbar again. I was able to put it in the exact position I'm trying to put it in right now, but right now it's not working that smoothly for me. Yeah, it's like this side has got less clearance for the crowbar than the other side, even though it's in the exact same fucking position. Fuck me, it's just raining. Okay, I need the goggles again. Don't smash my fingers into anything. Oh, I don't think. Yeah, we ended up breaking a little bit of it, which is the goal. But if I could just get it into the corner like I did on the first one, that was quite easy. Let's see what's going on. If I just had a slightly smaller crowbar, this would be a bit easier, I imagine. But I do not. Getting somewhere. Feels like there's only about one tab holding it in place now. Let me show you what I'm fighting with here. So yeah, I've owned this thing for about 12 years now, and every single time I take it into a shop. Oh, did I mention it is a 2006 Saab 97X? Some people call it the Trailblazer because it shares the exact same platform as the Trailblazer, which I believe is the GMT 360. So basically everything about this vehicle, besides the front suspension setup and the interior, is a Trailblazer. I've got the 5.3 liter. It's got about 164,000 kilometers on it, so I believe there's a decent amount of life left in this rusty bucket. So that's why I'm doing this. But so yeah, I ripped out my air suspension, which was leaking very hard. My compressor was running almost all the time, and that's the reason for not replacing it with more airbags. because the compressor is 20 years old and is probably nearing death. And a compressor by itself is $500 to $800. And I don't feel like doing compressor and airbags, so I am putting some Beltec lowering springs and some new Beltec shocks in this thing. So the SUV will sit naturally about 2 inches lower than it usually does and should level the SUV out, since when the airbags are full, the ass end sits up quite a bit higher than the front end, which gives it a kind of a raked look, which I'm not into, so I'd rather have it leveled out. But yeah, this thing's got 160,000 kilometers on it, so I'm feeling confident that it should last me a little while longer. I recently just had to replace the throttle body on it. It was malfunctioning and going into limp mode. And I did a wheel speed sensor too. Unfortunately, it looks like I might have to do a steering column sensor as well. I think I'm going to skip that for a little while. If you hold down this button on the shift knob, it turns the SUV, turns off the StabiliTrak, which is like the traction control. And that voids the issue of the steering column sensor for now. I heard if the steering column sensor went haywire while like driving straight down the highway, it could cause some of your tires to lock up. So that's why I'm opting for turning off the traction control for now, just to bypass that issue. But I will eventually get to fixing that. But holy fuck, I do not like dealing with wires, and there is a huge rat nest of wires under the front dash. And yeah, I just don't feel like dealing with that right now. So I'm putting some new springs in her to fix that issue of my airbags constantly leaking out. Literally every morning I'd walk out to my SUV and it'd be like sitting on the fucking ground because there's no air in the bags. So yeah, now I'm doing that. So yeah, I think my next step is I'm going to clean up these this mount area, make it look all nice and pretty, so that the new rubbers that I put in don't get chewed up immediately. And then I believe I'm going to be putting a jack under my main axle. Hey, bro. So yeah, I'm going to put a jack under the axle here, take off the existing shock absorbers, and that should drop the axle down a little bit further so I can squeeze my springs up into there, and then install my new shocks, and it should be good to go. But yeah, that's what I'm dealing with. Oh, here's a little fucky. But yeah, so if your airbags are stuck in your Trailblazer or Saab, grab a fucking crowbar, maybe one a little bit smaller than this, because this is like your full-sized break a door down crowbar. And yeah, wedge that fucking hook up into there and snap them bitches off. Because when they're rusted in place, they are a bitch. Yeah, hope you learned something. Okay, now that I got the springs out, it's time for cleaning, which my drill happens to fit nicely. Got a nice little wire brush on there. Alright, that's sufficiently clean. I'll let you get a peek. So yeah, that is plenty good enough, I think. Time to do the other side. again, make sure you're wearing your goggles. This is horrible without it. Maybe even earplugs, because shit's be falling in the ears too. Alrighty. Just ran out of battery. Still needs a little more deburring. Maybe some nose plugs too. All right. And that side is done. Whew. Alright, that side's looking good for a nice rubber cap to sit on. When you do this spring to coil conversion, you want to get some of these guys, which is the spring isolator. And that sucker, there's a nice little indent on the bottom side, and that sucker just sits right on that indent for the spring to sit on top of. Locks the spring in place and keeps it from making a bunch of banging noises. So you definitely need the isolators. Oh, phone bracket broke off. So yeah, now it's time for a vape break. Sometimes it's nice just to lay under a vehicle and dick around for a little bit while you relax after winning a battle with something. The one thing I'm not tackling today is this is the pan hard bar, and when you lower your vehicle by as much as I'm doing today, usually your wheels will get shifted to one side or the other by just like a quarter of an inch or so. Could be a little bit more, maybe a half inch. And yeah, you want to get an adjustable pan hard bar, so you can adjust it and change how much your wheels shift over. But I am not doing that today. Should be completely fine without doing it. AI recommended to me to just cut it in half and fucking tap it myself and make my own adjustable pan hard bar. But, because I think it's about $200 or $300 for one, maybe even $400. But I am on a budget right now. I need to get this vehicle safe and moving for I'm moving houses really soon here. And I don't want a completely useless vehicle when I get to a new city. So I am just doing the preventative maintenance I need to do right now to get this thing working reliably. So yeah, now my next step is to get my car jack and throw it right underneath this axle here. Lift up the axle like, I don't know, half inch, and then take the shocks off. If you don't put a jack underneath your transmission rear axle, the axle will hang basically when you undo those nuts, the axle will like fall to the floor. And you don't necessarily want that happening. So yeah, that's why you want to put a jack on here. And then on top of that, once you get these nuts out, you can lower the jack a bit and give yourself some more room to get your springs up in there, which is my next step. After a touch of forethought, I decided to take the tires off completely. Gives me a little more extra room to get at those shock bolts. So yeah, might want to remove your tires. If you're also working pretty like low profile to the ground, removing the tires will allow you to drop the axle further, obviously, than you would have been able to originally. So if you don't have lowering shocks and you're putting in regular OEM size shocks, springs, you're definitely going to need to lower your axle by quite a bit. So yeah, bit of forethought there. Alright, and now I'm taking out the struts. I got the bottom of the struts out now, and I'm just getting the top out. I thought the top was going to be a bitch, because the nuts on the inside of the strut would be hard to hold in place, but luckily they're held in place with tabs, so you don't have to worry about that now. And boom, both struts are out. And they feel like shit. These are the new struts going in. They are quite a bit nicer, quite a bit beefier. Quite a bit beefier. So, and they look pretty. They look real nice and pretty. Alright, struts are out, airbags are out. Now I just have to install everything. Alright, so I'm on the final part of my suspension conversion, and what is holding me up the longest has been these polyurethane bump stops. They, unfortunately, for my Saab 97X, are a little too big on diameter to get into the sockets. I tried soap, I tried boiling them, I tried jacking up the suspension to crush it into the socket. Nothing has worked. So what has worked, with one side at least so far, has been shaving down the diameter of it. So that's what I'm doing right now. I gave it some taper so that it kind of squeezes in there nicely, but that should now fit just perfectly. I will take a video of me squishing it into place. Alright, got it pre-lubed with some Dawn dish soap, and now I'm going to do some squishing. Alright, going in a little lopsided, but that is better than what it was doing before, which was not going in at all. Ooh. That side worked up in there a little bit. And then hit it one more time. Oh, something's going on. Let's take a look. Alright, so one side is seated in the tabs. Alright, that's seated. That's seated. There's little metal tabs that hook onto the fat part of the bump stop. Whoa, just about hit myself in the face with a piece of wood. Oh, got some gunk in my eye. All right. Let's give her one more squish. That's not staying in focus. Focus. There we go. And boom. Bump stop is seated. Now it's time to put my springs back in. Alright, gonna start with the passenger side. Because it is the more difficult side. Guide my spring up through the fucking pan hard bar. Stick my little spring isolator on the top. And she can sit like that, right there. Perfect. Alright, now to the other side. This side is much easier. Trying to get it to balance perfectly is not. Because there's little caps, crowns, you want to make sure get like perfectly centered on the spring isolators. But that's pretty much it. And now I can put my wheels on and slowly set the vehicle down.